Assalamualaikum and good day, everyone. Thank you for attending the ninth ICEBIT 2025 conference. I am Nur Farhana Muhammad and I am joined by my co-author, Dr. Tuan Siti Mastazami Atun, Long Tuan Kecil from College University Islam Antarabangsa Sultan Ismail Petra KS. And today we will examine the English proficiency in Kelantanese Islamic schools, focusing on the challenges, strengths, and pedagogical implications identified in our literature review. So, these institutions merge religious Islamic studies with the national English curriculum, presenting both unique opportunities and challenges for language acquisitions. So, our paper to our presentation today entitled English Proficiency in Kelantanese Islamic Schools and SLR of Challenges, Strengths, and Pedagogical Implications. Okay, so our objective is to enhance the integration of English education, thereby improving students' competitiveness on a global scale. So let's move on to our introduction and the context of our studies to appreciate its significance. So, for our introduction and context, the landscape of Kelantanese Islamic schools, as we know, for example, Ma'had, Tafiz, and also Pondok, some of the Pondok, they have unique ecosystem where the coexistence of Islamic studies alongside the national English curriculum. The goal of the schools is to have a holistic human capital, yet academic subjects often yet the academic subjects are often inadvertently marginalized. So in reality, the persistent proficiency gap compared to national averages and urban counterparts. So this matters because English is critical for the globalized workforce and ensuring religious stream graduates remain competitive. So these schools are like juggling matters. They are trying to balance religious teachings with everyday academics. Uh, so for us, this is a challenge that is faced by the students in the religious schools. So moving on to the problem statement. So the systemic barriers to proficiency. Uh, the problem is not about students. So this is about the system that does not give them enough time or the right kind of assessment. First is because of the time poverty. They have too many subjects, religious subjects to be exact, drastically reduces English contact hours. So they focus more on the religious subjects than English itself. And the next problem is the exposure deficit. This is due to the scarcity of communication opportunities, and the students are forced to rely on their self-initiated strategies, meaning that they didn't prepare enough exposure to the students. And the last is the competence performance gap. This is due to the misalignment between exam oriented assessments and CFR communicative goals. As a result, the students pass exam by memorizing without gaining functional skills. So they only remember, but they didn't have the skills to use the language. Okay, moving on to our methodology of our research. So here we are using systematic literature review or SLR as proposed in the title to bring together a wide range of empirical evidence. Okay, first we focus on the design. It's a systematic synthesis, meaning we are not just gathering data but critically analyzing both qualitative and quantitative studies. So our data sources drawn from peer-reviewed articles, reports, and dissertations published, especially between the year 2020 and 2025. So this ensures our findings are both current and credible. Okay, the focus area is in the benchmark itself, or the CAFR, and rural or religious learner performance, pedagogical strategies, and technology enhanced language learning or TEL. Our key findings is about the challenges. The evidence shows that the skill deficits where 66% of rural ESL learners struggle with listening. This is because uh, they find it hard to understand what is being said in the audio, and 70% of students lack confidence in writing, meaning that they have trouble in their language performance, and the significant gaps in foundation literacy and vocabulary breadth. So, in other words, they do not have enough vocab to speak or to communicate or to use English. And as for the instructional constraints, teachers they rely on the teacher-centered rote learning due to heavy syllabus load. So it should be they should be focusing on students, but instead the teacher relies on the teacher-centered learning, and the inconsistent implementation of phonics and foundational strategies is also the challenge that is faced by our Mahat or other religious school students in order to learn English. We do not only focus on the challenges, but here we also have the strengths, where the pedagogical opportunities and learner attributes. We have learner responsiveness because according to our data, the positive response to genre-based writing approaches, where we use scaffolding structures. The writing is about certain genre which can help them to gain more motivation for them to write, and they also have high discipline and intrinsic motivation rooted in religious study habits. So they use the same habit in learning religious study to learn English. So this is where their strength is used to learn English. And also, as we go along with the technology, digital engagement is important in learning English. So they can use multimedia and blended learning act as a vital compensatory tools for low immersion. And we need to know how to make a full use of the technology and use multimedia in order to learn and to teach English, especially for students that are focusing more on the religious subjects. So technology fosters learner autonomy, bypassing classroom and the time constraint for the students to learn English. For our discussion, the core insight. Okay, so the dual curriculum paradox. As for the structural incompatibility, uh, as we know, schools prioritize religious subjects, and it creates a dual curriculum burden in which students are responsible to acquire both religious and the curriculum subjects, and they also face the cognitive overload in which the intense religious coursework reduces cognitive space for authentic language acquisition, where the students focus more on the religious coursework as compared to language acquisition. And in this case, for our case, is English acquisition. So we need to reframe the deficit, which is to say that low proficiency is not a learner failure, but a rational response to a system where English competes with religious imperatives. We are not saying that English must surpass or English must be more important than the religious subjects, but uh, as a subject which is always being put aside by religious schools, we think that teachers must put more focus in English, not greater than what they put on religious subject, but at least more than what they used to have before. So, for our policy recommendations, we need to move from remedial to structural solutions. First is to have a curriculum integration. For example, they can implement English for Islamic purposes, in which they use English to teach religious subjects. Okay, for example, uh, Islamic history in English, and also other subjects, other Islamic subjects in English, to increase contact hours without extending the day. It means that they use English to get their main goal in teaching religious subjects. So by doing that, students are getting both English and religious subjects. And we must have sensitive pedagogy. We need to move from generic communication methods to genre-based scaffolding. From um, from our point of view, we also need to prioritize phonics for early literacy remediation. This is phonics is included because before they can produce a long or hard, complicated words, they need to know the phonics. They need to know the pronunciation first. Okay. Lastly, is about digital equity, and this is I think the most we think that this is the most easy and most important in this world of technology, because we can leverage technology for autonomous learning to bridge the exposure gap. So students nowadays, they depend on technology, they use technology a lot in their daily life. So as a teacher, we need to make this something that can give benefit to our students by using technology to bridge the exposure gap. In conclusion, let's reflect on the key takeaways. Okay, we've examined how proficiency gaps in language learning are largely influenced by systemic factors. So, what shift is necessary? Okay, It is crucial to move away from isolated or traditional drills, which may feel familiar, but the way how we used to do things are not enough when we separate religious and English. So instead of focus on structural integration, and our recommendation is to weave English into the fabric of religious education, which can create a more harmonious learning environment. Okay, we must reframe English not as a competitor to religious studies, but as a complementary asset for global Islamic discourse. Okay, I think that's all from me. I open the floor to any question. Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and have a good day.